What would you do if you're in a hospital room, watching your mother fight for her life, hooked up to machines in the ICU? That moment changed everything for me. It made me realize that all the things I was worried about, my prestigious career, my six-figure income, what others would think about me, were complete bullshit. I'm Nadia. At 42, I walked away from my successful career as a digital marketer who led million-dollar product launches and New York Times bestseller campaigns to becoming a content creator with my dog. People thought I was having a midlife crisis. Maybe I was. But here's the thing. Sometimes what looks like a breakdown on the outside is actually a breakthrough on the inside. This is the story of how I went from being trapped in depression, juggling my career, while caring for my sick family members, to completely restarting my life in my 40s. Like many of us, I started out with a dream. I landed a prestigious management trainee position at one of Malaysia's biggest telecommunication companies. I got my MBA from a top business school. I worked in Brazil for 2 years and even started my own sportswear brand that got featured in major publications. I was even nominated as a young Malaysian icon and invited to give a TED Talk. And then in 2018, I got burnt out and decided to take a break. In 2019, life led me down an unexpected path where I joined Mindvalley and completely pivoted my career to pursue a role as a product marketing specialist. I've never spoken about this publicly, but during my first month in Mindvalley, I completely blew it and got my probation extended. I was so mad at myself back then that I made a promise that I was gonna work hard and prove myself. I worked crazy hard, and of course, I ended up passing my probation and went on to do epic things within the organization. The project that I am most proud of was when I was the launch manager of Mindvalley CEO, Vishen Lakhiani's second book, The Buddha and the Badass, which made it to the New York Times bestseller list. The other project that I am super proud of till this day was when I launched Mindvalley's first ever fitness product, 10X, which made $1.3 million within the first 2 weeks of launch. Being in Mindvalley was great, but I moved on to become a freelance digital marketing strategy consultant. I was attached to an agency and had the best possible arrangement that anyone could ever ask for. Firstly, it was a fully remote job. And secondly, although I was based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, I was earning in US dollars. I had complete freedom and the money to do whatever I wanted. From the outside, everything looked perfect. But you know the feeling when your life looks amazing on the outside, but on the inside, you're just empty? So 2024 hit like a storm. My mom and my aunt who lives with her got really sick. And I mean really sick. My aunt got a lung infection and was hospitalized for 6 weeks. And ever since then, she was constantly in and out of hospitals. And so was my mom. In 2024 alone, she collapsed twice and was hospitalized 4 times. In between the hospital visits, the medications, and the constant emergencies, I became their primary caregiver. Instead of having a mom and an aunt, I suddenly had 2 dependents who needed me for everything. Depression crept in slowly. There were days where I couldn't get out of bed. Life felt like an endless cycle of responsibilities and obligations, but I kept telling myself that this too shall pass. And then something unexpected happened. I started making videos with my dog Reggie just for fun. A few of my reels went viral. Brands started reaching out. And for the first time in a long time, I woke up feeling excited about something. Slowly but surely, an idea started forming in my head. Could I actually quit my job to become a full-time content creator? I'm 42 years old, and when I first had that thought, it just seemed like crazy talk. I had worked so hard to build my skills and my reputation as a kick-ass digital marketer. And was I really gonna pivot my career in my 40s to become a content creator? It just seemed really, really ridiculous. Because I had this thought hanging over me, I started doing research about the creator economy. The most vocal person about this is Gary Vee, where he really believes that if you do what you love, you will do your best work and you will work the hardest. If you're willing to eat shit along the way and if you're willing to fail many times, you will eventually succeed. And on top of that, I've seen with my own eyes 3 YouTubers that started their channel from zero. And they were posting content every week for 2 years. And now, 2 of them have since quit their jobs to do content creation full-time, sharing what they love with others as their full-time jobs. The turning point for me was when my mom caught COVID and ended up in the ICU. My mom was so sick, we thought that we were gonna lose her. I still remember standing there in the hospital, looking at her, hooked up to all these machines, thinking that life is just too short to be worried about bullshit. Nothing mattered in that moment. Not the job, not the money, not the fears that I had about what other people would think about me. And that's when it hit me. I needed to make a change, and so I quit. There were a few reasons that helped me make this decision. Firstly, I already had traction. My content was doing well, and I had 12 months worth of savings, so I had a cushion during this period. The person that I was most afraid to tell was my brother. Both of us are financially responsible for my mom. She's very sick, constantly in and out of hospitals, and I was worried about how my decision would affect him. But when I finally told him, he was amazingly supportive, and that was a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. And of course, there were also the fears of what other people would think. Quitting my job to become an influencer, especially at the age of 42, seemed like such a ridiculous and frivolous decision on the outside. I guess I was worried about how others would judge me. But at the end of the day, the only person standing in my way was me. And once I realized that, there was no looking back. I quit. And once I quit, I started setting goals for myself. And one of them was that I needed to start making money within my first 90 days of being a full-time content creator. And guess what? I grew fast. Within those first 90 days, I landed 2 paid collaborations and got invited on a sponsored trip to a luxury resort. I still remember being there with my husband and my dog Reggie. We were walking through the resort and I was taking footage for me to do a review. And in that moment, I caught myself and I just had this thought that 3 months ago, I was lost and depressed and in a really dark place. And now I'm in a luxury resort shooting content as my full-time job. Life is wild. So yes, I actually started making money within my first 90 days of being a full-time content creator. Am I at the point where my income covers all my bills yet? No. I'm still living off my savings, but I'm proud of how far I've come in such a short time. So what's the point of this video? I guess it's to remind you that if you're like me, feeling lost, trapped, or in a dark place, don't be afraid to do what makes you happy. It might feel scary. It might seem like the craziest decision in the world, but sometimes it's exactly what you need. There are still things in my life that I'm figuring out, but at least I've tackled this one big thing. And for now, that's enough. And most importantly, I'm happy. Thank you for watching, and I hope that this video has helped you in whatever small way that it can.